Hi everyone. As you can see, I got the haircut finally. Since March I was able to get a haircut, so as these restrictions are easing, which is nice to hear, although we enter from one crisis to the other, which I will not discuss at this time. I just wanted to talk about a something that, since I'm studying for my master's to teach, um, educated to teach literature and literacy in middle school, I was listening to these podcasts that about teaching and teaching students that are English language learners or ESL. That means the English is their second language, and how do you teach them? And there was some discussion regarding culturally responsive teaching, but I want to discuss a word that they used. It was deconstructive teaching or deconstruction in educational settings. Um, well, deconstruction was is a word that was kind of defined or invented by Jacques Derrida, a French philosopher, during 1960s, 70s. I don't know exactly, is it 70s, 60s, but um, he came up with this word that deconstruction is a breaking of the binary oppositions. What does that mean? So we have to deconstruct. So let's say we have a what is it called? A man versus woman. That's a binary opposition. Um, Essence versus appearance. Um, Idealism versus realism, and some other binary oppositions. Now we're talking about the binary oppositions in education would be native speakers, meaning those people that are born and speak English, were born in this country and speak English all their life, and those people that are not born here and they had to learn English as a second language. So that's a binary opposition. People that are born here, they're native speakers, but then non-native speakers also have difficulties with comprehending, learning a second language, which has become an issue. Um, so deconstruction, in a essence, tries to break those binary oppositions, so that non-native speakers of English could be on the same level as English-speaking um, population. The problem with deconstruction is that it's much ado about nothing. Um, Deconstruction is a invented word to define something that was already there to begin with, so that it already existed. So deconstruction. So when we talk about, let's just say, equal opportunity, well, equal opportunity, that means we are giving equal opportunity to people that have disabilities, that have people that have a different race, different culture, people that have a um, disadvantage. So we want to make sure that these people have equal opportunity. So when we talk about equal opportunity, that means we are deconstructing the idea of the binary oppositions to ideas that are opposing one another. But that's been all along. So deconstruction is just a word that's been there, but it hasn't been there. But the idea that it's been described is the idea that it's existent ever since through long civilizations and changes and all that. We always had master versus slave. That's a binary opposition. So Derrida attempted to use deconstruction to say, oh, well, master and slave are not much different, and we should deconstruct those terms. But deconstructing them, yes, you're trying to break those binary oppositions. There is no reason to define that. That process has been all along, because historically speaking, these oppositions existed, and these oppositions have been trying to break trying to break up or oppose one another or become equal to one another. And that's been all along. So he just took the idea that existed and gave it a name. And so when I hear people using deconstruction, making it sound like, oh wow, this is some new term or something like that, it's not. It's just much ado about nothing. I think Derrida felt that it is important for him to invent a term or to invent something to define. It's like Christopher Columbus, that he got credit to, he discovered America. Well, he didn't discover America, was here all along, but so that discovery, the word discovery, was he stumbled upon. He didn't even think it was America. He thought it was India or something like that, and they had a lot of gold. So in essence, Derrida looks at the terms because we know these are oppositions. You know, we say black versus white. So we always try, so when we had a civil rights movement, that was also an attempt to reconcile the rights of all people, meaning it's not just for the white people or black people, or it's not just for Native Americans, but it's for everybody. So trying to reconcile these two terms he's trying to define it as a deconstruction. Deconstruction is just trying to sound fancy and trying to define something that maybe that supposedly has a intellectual meaning or a academic meaning, which it's just a simple term that describes that was already there. It's not a new theory, or it's not a theory per se. This has been here all along. So when people use this deconstruction as a postmodern approach to studying and to learning, you know, deconstruction of law, you know, does the law give equal rights to everyone? Are the master and slave, should the master and slave be equal? So the issue here is not that deconstruction is giving a new theory or it's giving some kind of approach. The master and slave existence has been as long as the civilization is old. And so there's always where master takes over the slave and slave tries to take over the master. And what's it called? As Nietzsche said, you know, what's it called? Christianity, when it was built, it was trying to take over. It was a slave revolt, meaning the slaves all of a sudden started to become Christians, and Christianity took over the masters, which is the Roman Empire. The whole issue there is that this existed. So when deconstruction is not something that it's new or it defines or gives you some kind of different meaning that it didn't exist there, or that it gives you some kind of different perspective, it's not. It's just a word that is much ado about nothing. And so when I hear people using it in different settings and all that stuff, it just sounds like people are trying to sound fancy, just like Jacques Derrida, or trying to sound intellectually, or trying to sound intelligently. Yet the word is much ado about nothing. It does not give us any additional meaning than what already has been known before the word was come up, before the word was invented. All right, well, that's all for deconstruction and Derrida, and you know, I'll discuss some more in the future, some more terms. Also, I will be discussing educational strategies, special ed, and some other, all different topics. If any of you know that you want me to discuss any other topic, please let me know. I'm not the expert in any of these. I just do a lot of reading, and there is things that I know, and there are things that I do not know, and I feel I do not know a whole lot more than what I know. So that's it for right now. All right, take care.